entertainment media is not actually portraying autism as it is for the average autistic. Hey guys, welcome back to the show, welcome back to the diary. So yes, back to autism for a little bit. So, the entertainment media has got so many different autistic and autistic style stories. When I say autistic style, I'm talking about The Big Bang Theory and Sheldon Lee Cooper. Sheldon has no actual autism, he's been tested for it as a child, and no. He's just a high-level genius. But the fact that he's a high-level genius, that is often seen as a part of autism. There are autistic people out there who are geniuses, sometimes at maths, sometimes at science, sometimes at other things. There is an autistic guy out there who, if you ask him what day of the week a certain date was on, he'll be able to tell you what day that was on. So if you said 24th of March 1981, he'd be able to tell you what day of the week that was, just by doing the maths in his head. And it's amazing. But you don't often see people like that in entertainment media. Like, say, at the minute, EastEnders has got a story going on with an autistic child. There was also a TV series about the A Word, called The A Word, about an autistic boy as well. My mum said, it doesn't feel right, there's not enough laughter. It doesn't feel like it normally is. And it's like, that's interesting. The reason why she said not enough laughter is because of when I was the age of the child in The A Word, which is about 5. Yes, I had the weird can't say it today. I had the weird things that the kid does. It's not really rituals or anything like that, even though an autistic person might see it as that. But it's things like that. It's like opening the door, closing it, and then opening it again before he can walk through, or before he wants to walk through. Things like that, and then it's like, but coming out with things, saying things, rather than family just going and getting angry at it. You have this moment of, like with me, when I was younger, my mum always used to have certain sayings and things. Sometimes I react with, what? Other times I react with, oh. Things like, pick a penny up and on the day you'll have good luck. Yay, good luck. I'll pick a penny. Pick up a penny. But the funniest times were to sayings like, get your skates on. I heard that when looked at mum and went, I don't know where they are. What? Most mainstream kids will turn around and go, fine, I'll hurry up. But autistic kids, because they don't know that things like that are a saying or a phrase or things like that, it's like, do you really want me to get my skates on? Why do you want me to wear my skates? Isn't that dangerous? With me, wearing skates was dangerous because of my dyspraxia and everything else. Screws in my knees now, but not before. So, getting my skates on, losing my balance, slipping on my butt, and I have a knee dislocation. That was painful. But with EastEnders and Ollie, I'm thinking it's kind of somewhat there. There are moments in the show, things that Ollie does, it's kind of really quite true to life, but the thing is, he had been diagnosed with high-functioning autism, which is what I have. So basically, he can survive and get the, we'll say grades, get the results and grades that he needs in school. But he's going to struggle with friendship and other things within the classroom environment, and other things to do with his classmates. But that's the problem. That's what makes me say that the entertainment industry is not getting it as true to life as they can be. Because they don't necessarily want to show someone with serious autism on TV, either out of fear of upsetting anyone, out of fear of getting it wrong, and out of fear of it not being interesting. They say high-functioning autistics are more interesting and make better characters than low-functioning autistics do. The difference between high-functioning and low-functioning autism, they say, is the IQ and the brain mentality. So, if you can understand things, or you can get a decent grade in school, and you can learn quickly or learn reasonably quickly, you're considered high functioning, If you take a considerable amount of time to learn something, granted, high functioning autistics might take longer than a mainstream child to learn something, but it's the amount of time between that's the difference. If it takes a serious amount longer, then you're considered low functioning. If you can basically do things for yourself, you're high functioning. If you can't do stuff for yourself, you're low functioning. And that's the problem. They're not going to show that low functioning autism on TV, and the only time they're going to show that on TV is in a documentary. It's not going to be in anything, we'll say fantasy, even though it's not really fantasy. It's, they're not going to show it in any kind of fantasy. They'll only show it in a documentary, in real life, because that's where they think it belongs. They think it belongs in a documentary, because then people can see it properly and see it in the right kind of setting. If they start putting a low-functioning autistic into fantasy, they can end up getting it wrong. They can end up upsetting the autistic community even more than they already are by not showing it. So I can see why they don't, because yes, they should be showing it, but they don't want to upset anyone, and they don't want to, we'll say, put someone in a wheelchair who literally can't speak, who can't feed themselves, who can't wash, sit there dribble, sit there moan all the time. Because that's what a lot of society sees those seriously low-functioning autistic people as. People in a wheelchair, people that just can't do anything for themselves at all. And because fantasy kind of TV shows want people like that to speak and have a character of their own, it kind of doesn't work if they can't speak. You see why it's stupid? I can certainly see why it's stupid. But that's the problem. They're not putting it in there because that is or can be seen as offensive. Because that's not how it is for everyone. That's not how every single low-functioning autistic person is. They're not always in a wheelchair, they're not always dribbling, they're not always moaning. I say moaning, it's just the noise I'm talking about. But that's the thing. It would be far too offensive for them to even bother trying. They would end up putting too much risk into putting someone of low functioning autism into a fantasy show. So they constantly point out autistic-like traits, as with Big Bang Theory, or they put a high-functioning autistic on TV, like with EastEnders and other TV shows. Granted, the A word was a bit different. The A word, he's not necessarily low-functioning, he's about mid-range, I'd say. He is high-functioning, but his autism kicks in and takes over quite often. So he is very obviously autistic because of what he does and how he deals with the world. But he can still cope in mainstream school well enough. And he is in mainstream school. I don't know how well the A word actually did, but I think that is closer to real life than anything else I've seen. I know that a lot of people say, oh, Big Bang's closest because of Sheldon. His things, everything he does is literally autistic, but that's the problem. He was never diagnosed. He was always tested, but he was never caught. So if he is, meh. I don't know. But that's the thing, it's just TV doesn't want to portray it true to life out of fear of upsetting anyone. So that's kind of it today, guys, I'm afraid. Today's question is, what do you think? Do you think autism is being portrayed properly, or do you reckon I'm kind of right that they're too scared to put it on as true to life as it is? So that's it for me today, guys. I will see you on Monday. Don't go panicking, don't go worrying. I haven't actually stopped doing thumbnails or end screens. I'm now saving them for the weekends if I can remember to. It was just getting irritating having to do it that day onwards and during and everything. I'd rather be doing other things while the video's uploading, not to mention my family are kind of bugging me to help out with the house, so that kind of, yeah. So I'm ending up doing that when the video's uploading instead. But no, quick reminder of today's question, what do you reckon? Do you reckon TV is portraying it properly or no? Let me know down below, so I will see you Monday. See ya!
Put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit, put a little bit of shit. Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another crime scene. Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another